Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucie Roland. I am a scientist in charge of the management of the French academic GNSS Permanent Network. And today I will speak about an application in natural hazard of GNSS real-time data. So the streams recorded at GNSS can be used indeed for tsunami early warning. And I will introduce some prospects coming from a recent tsunami that happened in Pacific wide and had impacts until Chile last year. So those work is conducted by a group under the auspices of IUGG. And so GTU's Oceania, as the name is shown, is focusing on the Oceania part, so South Pacific. To come back actually about the tsunami of Kamchatka. So Kamchatka is in Russia, northwest of Pacific, and magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck next to the peninsula of Kamchatka and induced the largest tsunami we had in the last years. A severe early warning actually was issued by Pacific Tsunami Early Warning Center for the whole Pacific. And it was not until more than 1 day after that actually the issue was cancelled and that evacuation orders were cancelled. For instance, here in Chile, evacuations order lasted more than 1 day. So it's showing the issue about tsunami early warning system. You have a lack of data, and in particular, in this area in Kamchatka, you had very few close GNSS stations. We have seen with the precedent presentations that GNSS has actually this capability to get strong motions. And actually, it's important for seismologists to get those information in order to infer the accurate source that triggers the tsunami. On this picture, it's not about deformation, it's more about total electron content. So ionospheric disturbances that can actually be sensed very straightforwardly using actually the geometry-free combination of dual frequency phase measurements. So on this picture, you can see a collection of perturbations. So each plot here shows one station from regular permanent stations from CDDIS, UNAFCO, GSI, and you can see here the disturbance, which can be shown as actually a mimic or an imprint of the tsunami on the ionosphere. So when the tsunami is propagating, it moves the ionosphere, it compresses the ionosphere, and you can actually sense in real time the tsunami propagation. So you can see the added value of this and also some challenge. So the added value was demonstrated actually by JPL and the Guardian system that was able and then was installed a few days before the event, and that was able, through machine learning, to identify very close disturbances. So GTUS is for GNSS Enhanced Tsunami Early Warning System. So GNSS is now recognized by committees in UNESCO as an added value and potential instrument for tsunami early warning systems. So the challenges are here. So you can see that there are quite few actually stations in this area, and in particular in the South Pacific area, a poor distribution of GNSS. And also this Kamchatka 2025 event demonstrated actually the need for cooperation and data sharing. So in Pacific area, we had a look to the real-time capable stations. So in this picture, you do have actually all permanent stations, and the yellow dots here are actually not actually streaming data. Some of them are actually also restricted, like actually New Caledonia. And the challenge for G2s is to actually strengthen the real-time infrastructure. So here, let me next slide, yes. So G2 Oceania is focusing on this part of South Pacific, and we have this group which is actually supported by IUGG, and we also cooperate with Geoscience Australia, which has actually a role of support for the hosting data in collaboration with IGS and APREF. So I will address a few of those issues and challenges actually of the G2's Oceania. This is indeed a multinational collaboration that is aiming at sharing resources, and also, and this is the main effort we are conducting since a couple of years now, is to improve GNSS infrastructure in the Pacific Islands. So, meaning that we need to ensure and to provide support for real-time transmission. This can be, for instance, using Starlink. And we have also efforts on analysis infrastructure development. So first, about the infrastructure part, we have this pilot project. So the first one conducted actually and led by the Ministry of Land in Tonga, in partnership with Central Western University and also with IUGG, aiming at installing 9 stations. So 5 were already installed, and the project is actually making effort to ensure sustainability, maintenance, and operation. So funding is provided by IUGG for initial efforts, and it includes actually personnel support. Another project following this example of the Tonga project is now the Vanuatu pilot project, building on a more historical grounds, because collaboration with the French actually Institute of Development for Research created a former permanent network of 15 stations, 15 permanent stations and campaign stations. And the goal of this pilot project is to reinstall those stations with the support of both the PGSC, so which is actually the Pacific Community Geodetic Group, and also Geoscience Australia on the capacity building part, and also on the southern part here, installation of 4 stations. So there was a campaign, a field campaign that actually allowed to install 3 stations, and we have now 3 stations emitting in real time now in Vanuatu, in addition to the PTVL, Port Vila, IGS stations. So we make recommendations for collocation with state gauges and also with other geophysical instruments like seismic sensors or even now distributed acoustic sensors. Another project now is actually strengthening also an already well, I would say, working network, which is in New Caledonia. So the idea here is to modernize the stations coming from B frequency, dual frequency, and B constellation, GPS and Galileo, to multi-GNSS. And we are in the process of equipping those stations, and in particular those stations on the islands, on the loyalty islands that are more prone actually to tsunami and also to earthquakes. So discussions are ongoing to have more open data sharing policy for scientific purpose. And at last but not least, we progress on the analysis infrastructure with efforts on softwares. So the first steps being actually access to data and select proper data when you have actually an earthquake happening. So here you have this example of web interface. Then actually it's also a key part of the project to get real-time offsets and displacements. So here it's the GPS cockpit tool from Central Western University that you can see. In purple, you have the horizontal displacement and offsets, and in green, you have in real time the vertical. So you can connect to this and have a look to the database. Then for the ionosphere, we have a recent tool made by Michela Ravanelli from La Sapienza University. So you can see here the displacement also in real time, displacement up, and also total electron content disturbances at the bottom. And of course, the GPL Guardian at the bottom, making use a lot of the IGS real-time streams. The last part of this, and this is maybe now the most challenging and that needs more research efforts, is to get usable information for tsunami warning system, meaning not the total electron content, but actually the tsunami wave height itself. So this is part of the efforts, and we are working at preparing tools ready to be used into those systems. So now I think it's the end of my presentation. So if you are interested in sharing data or join this initiative, you are welcome. So thank you very much for your attention.